Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins, logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome to my video guide on the level 70 Crystal Awakening Batch 6 fight. And this is called the Encountering Death's Dagger. And of course this is going to be on the Chaos fight. Now we do have a lot to go through, so let's get on with this video. So we are not actually starting this off with the weaknesses, resistances, and abilities of the boss. Instead, we're going to go and skip ahead to the general tips and strategies that I have implemented. And the reason for this is I don't really want this video to be too long, because this fight generally has 3 boss waves, and I don't really want to list all your abilities and weaknesses, resistances, because it's gonna take a long time, and I don't really want this video to be too long. So let's get on with the general tips to start off. The first one is to actually use your abilities about 1/3 per wave. The idea here is to save your abilities at least for each of the bosses. Now you may actually try and save your abilities for during the first wave, I should say, and probably use a little bit more on the second wave. I do believe the second wave is the more dangerous fight, and this can actually prolong the fight if you don't actually kill them very quickly. They have the HP damage reduction buff, at least one of them will, so if you're not planning to bring a debuffer or dispeller, I do highly suggest trying to save much of your abilities for the second wave. The next one is to, of course, bring in the boosted characters. Now, I would highly recommend the 2 characters that pretty much got their EX plus, which are Balthier and Kate Sith. Now if you don't actually have any of these characters, there are a lot more characters to choose from, such as Ultimisia, Warrior of Light, Ferris, Lilithette, Fang, Agrias, Tidus, Sarah, Vanille Bosch, Setzer, Kuja, Crowd, Garland, or even Cloud. Basically any characters that you have realized can actually help you clear this fight. Now if you are looking for a healer / brave battery options, there are of course Charlotta, Porum Rem, and even Y'shtola. They're all gonna work really well. And as for the summon, you do have an option between Ifrit, Shiva, and of course Ramu as well. You can actually use Leviathan as well. The bosses actually don't have any resistances or any weaknesses in the Chaos level. Now let's take a look at the strategies themselves that I used. And for the first one, we're going to take a look at the friend support. I do highly suggest bringing Agrias or Charlotta for your friend support. Agrias can obviously paralyze and silence as well, although silence isn't exactly very helpful in this fight because a lot of them are all physical damage dealing bosses. But there is a chance that you can actually silence the second wave boss, so there is that small chance. The next one is to bring in a dispeller / debuffer. If you have a dispeller like Vanille, Ferris, or Balthier, I highly suggest you bring them here because it is mainly to use on the first 2 waves, and honestly the first wave isn't that much dangerous, but the second wave is. So if you have a dispeller, I highly suggest you bring it. The next one is basically using your summon on wave 2 of the bosses if you don't plan on bringing a dispeller. This just helps you kill them much quicker, and therefore you don't have to deal with that HP damage reduction. And for the last one, of course, the paralysis / delay still works in this fight. So if you have Y'shtola, Cloud, Agrias, bring them here because paralyze is definitely gonna help you in this fight. So you can have a couple of free turns is always going to be great. Okay, so now let's take a look at some possible party compositions. The first one that I have for you guys is going to be Balthier, Kate Sith, and Ultimisia with the Agrius support and Shiva for the summon. Basically, Balthier's role here is going to be the Dispeller. Kate Sith is your Brave Battery plus buffing. Ultimisia is your main DPS, and Ultimisia is going to save you on those turn counts as well, making sure you do get your high score on your first try. The second team I have for you guys here is the one that you are seeing right now, which consists of Faris, Sarah, and Kate Sith. Basically, this acts as the same as Team 1, but Faris is your Dispeller, and Sarah is just there for the poison plus sap effect, especially with her Ultima Arrow ability. It's really going to help you out, making sure you don't get too much damaged by the enemies, increasing their brave to a very high amount, because if you do get broken, it's highly likely that you are going to take quite a bit of damage. So if reducing that to 0 before you actually get broken is also going to help you out. The next one I have for you guys here is Bosch, Vanille, and Agrius with an Agrius support and Shiva for the summon. Basically, Bosch is here to tank all those AoE HP attacks, especially the ones incoming in the second wave. Vanille is here for the Dispel, and Agrius is just here for the Paralysis, plus Silence as well if you do get lucky with that one. So basically a safe composition, making sure that the others don't get killed, and Bosch is just there because he's basically the kind of like the real tank, if you know what I mean. Has high HP and just takes all the damage. Now the last team I would highly suggest for you guys is a party composition that actually doesn't have a Dispeller. So if you don't have one, this is the party composition for you. Basically, Agrius Cloud and Y'shtola with an Agrius support and Shiva for the summon. Taking advantage of that double paralysis, especially in that second wave, is very key with this party composition. And of course, Y'shtola can delay as well, and I highly suggest you actually use your summon in that second wave if you're sure that you're not going to be able to paralyze or delay enemy on that second wave, because you don't really want that HP guard up buff. So I do highly suggest try to delay it as much as you can and just use your summon if you can't delay any longer, and kill it as soon as possible. Okay guys, so we're finally at the end of this video, and of course I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this fight. Honestly, this is probably one of the most easiest chaos fights that we've had recently, and that's including the ultimate summons chaos fights as well. These bosses don't actually have any weaknesses or resistances or any elements that they can absorb, and the only immunity they have is the sap debuff. So in all honesty, there's a lot more options for us as players to incorporate different party compositions, which makes this fight a lot easier than the other fights, especially, you know, the character events that a lot of the bosses actually absorb some elements, or they are immune to a lot of debuffs. So this actually really helps and makes this fight a lot easier. And not to mention that the bosses actually don't have a high amount of HP as other bosses that we have encountered in the past. So I have to put this probably as the easiest chaos fight, and hopefully you guys actually don't have any more troubles with this one. I highly think, and I'm pretty confident, if you have a Dispeller, that you will be able to beat this fight. So other than that, there's really nothing else for me to say, because I mean, this is a pretty simple fight. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. Please remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my little channel to grow, and of course it helps with the YouTube algorithm as well, making sure that some of my videos do get suggested for other players to see. And of course, to make sure to follow me on my social media. I am on Facebook and I am on Twitter. You can follow me at Munchkins Gaming. And if you have any other questions, you can message me there or private message me. I'm more than happy to have a chat with you guys, or if you just want to know what I think of certain things or whatever the case may be, you can direct message me there and I will answer as quick as I can. Anyway guys, this is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.